Good morning. Haven't seen you in so long. Won't you join me for a little knit and chat, and I'll catch you up on what's been going on here. So today is like July 19th, and it has been such a busy 3 weeks. I feel like my summer vacation is just starting. Oh, by the way, I'm Tracy from Tracy K AM Designs. If this is your first time watching, welcome. If you watched me before, thanks for coming back. I know it's been a long time. So yeah, we've had summer vacation for 3 weeks. I just feel like it's just starting now because we've been so busy. The first week was kind of broken up because Canada Day was right in the middle. And then my daughter was home for a few days, and then we left for basically a 2-week trip right after that to go see that same daughter that came home. But that's all on the other channel. I thought I'd get you caught up on what I've been working on. The first thing is this top that I absolutely love. Just finished. Put in some video there so that you can see it in action. This was such a quick project. I bought the yarn on June 16th from Facebook Marketplace. It is Debbie Bliss Cashmerino Baby in Duck Egg. Not usually a color I would go for, but this souvenir hoodie that I bought on my trip kind of shows that maybe I should. So I bought it off Facebook Marketplace, and there was something like 8 balls of this. And as well, there were 8 balls of Patons silk bamboo. 2 in pink, which I love. 2 in cream, which I also love. And 4 in this green, which I do like. But here's the thing. Obviously, 2 pink isn't enough for anything. 2 pink to ivory isn't really enough for anything. So I would have to use the green as well. And although I know a lot of people love that look, I'm not really one of them. I lived through the 80s, the 90s. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of these. So I bought it June 16th. The following weekend, Father's Day weekend, I went camping with our new trailer for the first time. And I created a really long swatch for this shirt. And then I got started. So basically, it's been less than a month. Well, a month since I swatched to when I finished. This is All About That Drape by I Need It Crochet. I'll post the links down below. And have I mentioned I love it? Just thought I'd let you know how much I love it. Be more details in my blog post when I get a chance to write it. It's been very busy. I loved it so much that I thought I need to make another one right away. So I went looking in my stash, and I knew it needed to be a solid color so that you could see the texture. And I have this Snuggly DK. Thought maybe that'll work. So I made up a swatch last night. And I gave it a rinse and a little bit of a wash. It doesn't have a very nice feel to it. And I don't think it has enough drape. It's, I believe, 55 nylon, 45 acrylic. So I really think this pattern needs something more natural fibers for that drape. I could go up a hook size, but you can see these holes are already pretty big, and I don't want them to be any bigger. I could steam it, but it's kind of like asking it to be something it's not. One thing you can do to check the drape is just put it how it's going to be worn, right? I need this to kind of fold out and be floppy. And it doesn't really want to do that. You see? It wants to hold its shape. So this is a no-go for this top. So I have this other yarn that I bought many years ago, probably at the Spin Right tent sale when they used to have that. And I have it in 2 colors, maybe even a third. It is what we used to call like a chain net. A little bit on the shiny side. Pretty fine. Of course, I don't have labels for it. So I have that colorway, and then, oh, I love this one. This colorway. And previously, I've also made a cardigan, crochet cardigan, in a kind of orange brown cream colorway. I'm not sure where that one's gone. I don't see it in my closet anymore. I wasn't overly happy with it. So you can see, even though these are 2 different colors, how they work up differently. Knit versus crochet. In knit, you get more stripes. In crochet, you tend to get more blocks because you're making the stitches vertical. Unless you do something like single crochet, which would take forever. But I don't think it would work well with the texture of this. And I do have another pattern by her that I want to do. However, I think this yarn is just a smidge too thick for that. But I'll try it and see. I think those 2 would be really nice. I like a lot of her designs. So I want to try another one. We'll get on that later today. And another finished project. While traveling, I usually, of course, I have to have a project to work on. Okay, that hair is too long to be mine. It's got to be my kids. Back in the early days of my knitting on road trips, I would just bring whatever I was working on. And I can remember an early road trip with my husband, his boyfriend then, and I had something like 50 little balls because I was working on a Cafe Facette design. It was really popular in the 90s, and it was like color work galore. And it was absolutely crazy trying to keep track of it all. Chart, yarn. So I learned not to do that anymore, but it still took a long time for me to really get into a good travel habit. Like a lot of knitters, I like to have a couple projects on the go at the same time. You know, something that you need to concentrate on. Something that maybe is a little bit concentration sometimes, but not bad. And then something that is like totally brainless. Purse knitting. You know, when you go to the doctors and you got to have a bit of some wait time. A few years ago, actually probably like 10 years ago now, I decided to simplify, and when I would go on a trip, more than a day trip, like an actual trip, I bought a ball, one of those large balls of Bernat handicrafted cotton in a colorway that sort of symbolized the trip, and I would knit corner to corner dishcloths. I would increase until I had 19 ridges on each side, then I would decrease. Then instead of casting off, I would just feed it through the last loop, leave a stretch of yarn, and cast on the next one. And then once I got a few done, I would cut them off. And then I just worked on those for the whole trip. But of course, that is a little bit boring, so I would often have something else to work on as well. But it was perfect for in the vehicle. Pick it up, drop it off, you know, if I had to look at the map or whatever, no problem. However, I've gotten to the point now where I actually have too many dishcloths. I have a few in my drawer that I've not used yet. So I decided I would knit socks because I was looking through the Mary Maxim catalog and there were some nice colors in the Kroy particularly, and I thought I would be able to get it locally. There was 2 I was looking at, 3. One was called Coastal Stripes, one was called Northern Lights, and one was called Woodsy. And all 3 colors are applicable to both trips we're going on. But the only one I could get at my store was Coastal Stripes. So I picked it up and I decided to make socks for our trip that we just got back, which was basically around Lake Superior. And gotta say, love them. Toe up 2 at a time on a circular legal heel. It's been a while since I've done that. I love it. Fits really well. And a 2x2 rib. I used both ends of the first ball at the same time. So on one sock, it goes like this. On the second sock, the stripe starts off with the dark one and goes opposite, which I think is kind of cute, fraternal rather than identical. I wasn't too happy with the heel flap, the way the color worked out, because it used up all this dark blue, and then I only got like a tiny little stripe there. There's more of this color. I wish it had lined up so it used more of that, like this one did. Okay? Because it kind of broke up these stripes too much. But whatever. That's probably going to be in my shoe anyway. Nobody better be looking at my feet like that. When I got up to the top, we got home when I was about here on this one, and well, obviously same on that one. And I realized that I was almost done this stripe pattern, but not this one. And I wanted to complete the stripe pattern, so I finished off the last little bit at home yesterday, the day before. And the ribbing is the Russian lace ribbing. They took me the whole trip. I think I cast on right when we left, and then I was almost done when we got back. Within 24 hours of being back, I was done. So that was a 12-day trip. And the only other thing that I worked on that trip, I worked on this, but it wasn't the easiest to work on while driving. I had one of my red scarves I'm working on. Simple rib. Very simple rib this time. No cables, without a cable needle for this one. So coming up on the needles and hooks, I've got another TikTok planned, either this one or a different one. Continue with my red scarf. I've got some sewing that I started back early in the spring. And I cut out a pair of pants, but now I've lost weight, and I think they might even be too big. Everything I sewed last summer is too big, so it's a little annoying, but I mean, I'm happy. And what else are we working on? Videos, vlogging. Enjoying my summer break before we go away again. Just a quick little video today, catching you up. And as always, more details will be on my blog once I write it, as well as details on how much yarn was used for all these projects, my current yarn totals, because buying this kind of did shoot my yarn totals up a bit. That's all for today. I appreciate you watching, spending 15 minutes of your time to watch me talk about my knitting and crocheting. I really do appreciate that. And I hope you also read my blog. Links will be in the description below. If you like this, want to see more of me, my knits, crochets, like and subscribe. It really does help us out. I was hoping to get to 160 subscribers. It seems so cheesy. Other people say, oh, I want to make it to 100,000 subscribers. I'm like, I just want 160. Really, I'd like a couple thousand. Let's not get greedy. So if you could help me reach my goal of 160 by the end of July, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.